Greetings, family. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is but one God. Welcome to the Black Agenda here on the Street 919 FM. I am Brother David Muhammad, and I'm going to be in studio with you up to 9 o'clock this morning. And in a short while from now, I will open up the telephone lines and take your calls on 342-0081 and 466-5391. You can send text messages directly to me on 332-0214. And you can go to the social media pages of the Street 919 FM and follow us. You'll see what's happening in studio. Another week in Trinidad and Tobago, people. And this morning, I don't remember when last I drove through such heavy rain. I've driven through some floods before, and maybe at some point this year. But heavy rain, I cannot remember when last I would have driven through such heavy rain where through the windscreen is barely visible. And if there were already so many floods, and then this kind of rain this morning, it's not as heavy in Port of Spain, but up in the east it was what they say, cats and dogs. So let's hope that the consequences aren't too terrible. It's strange. It's sometimes unpredictable. Sometimes there's heavy rain and the floods aren't as bad, or there aren't floods. At least you don't hear about them. And then at other times, there's maybe a little less rain, but very severe flooding, flash flooding. We know that town and country planning has something to do with it, with the way that some infrastructure is laid down, and that I'm definitely not an expert in that field, but it's concerning that on the heels of all of this flooding, that we have this kind of heavy rain this morning. It was really, really, really heavy. So, family, it is African History Month, and we're in the last few days of it. And tomorrow at the Kwame Ture Center, we have our closing presentation for Black History Month. It's going to be a powerful one. Tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock at the Kwame Ture Center. And we, of course, invite all of you out. It's going to be a really mind-blowing presentation, like the one we did a couple weeks back on who were the true Jews, the Hebrews, the Semitic people, the controversy with Kanye West and Kyrie Irving and Dave Chappelle, and the censorship of any black people who express any opinion that is not favorable to the Jews. It's a global, it's a worldwide attack and censorship on black consciousness. There's a different kind of censorship here. I want to say a very special good morning to everyone in beautiful Tobago. Of course, I just did just under a week of speaking engagements in Tobago, and it was so fantastic. It's been a while since I've done that over there, a number of back-to-back engagements, but this week was amazing. So I was a guest of the TTPS at the Roxborough Police Youth Club. And we're there with our brother, the Chief Secretary, Farley Augustine, and the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Brother Collis Hazel. Great man to be in a position like that. Conscious, loves the youth, always thinking about introducing social programs, getting education for the young people, helping out the young people, organizing them in Tobago. And congratulations to him as well on his recent promotion to Assistant Commissioner. I think his tenure will help propel the cause of youth development. I also spoke at the Signal Hill Secondary School, the Bishop's High School, the Scarborough Secondary School, and of course I did a morning program on Tobago Channel 5 with our brother B, who used to be here. Used to do the Tobago morning program on 91.9 FM. I actually haven't seen him since then, but it was very good to reconnect. And there's so much love in Tobago. There's a love over there that I'm not certain that we have over here. There's a certain togetherness that is natural, it's organic. And because of that sense of togetherness, there's certain violations that you will not see our people in Tobago do against each other, which would be the norm here in Trinidad. In fact, to me, the only time you see our people in Tobago in that mode of, I'd say, ideological self-destruction is when they get involved with these political parties. These political parties that we have, they turn African people into self-haters who would do almost anything to destroy their own people. I've witnessed firsthand politics doing that. You could meet a brother or a sister who's a conscious, loving, warm, open brother or sister, and they join one of these political parties. It transforms them into a hater, where it's like they're commissioned to find one of their own kind or those of their own kind and do whatever they can to destroy them. I think one of the reasons that Tobago is ahead of us in that sense of oneness and togetherness is because so many of our people out there are related. So one of my Nation of Islam brothers in Tobago, who accompanied me in one of the schools, so we're there in the school, waiting in the office area to go inside to address the students. And he's with me, and two police officers come in. And then they greet, and he said, "This is my cousin." I said, "Really? Okay, good." You know, we met and so on. And then the police officers leave the lobby area because we were waiting for the vice principal. Vice principal comes in. Vice principal is his cousin as well, and they start catching up on old times. And listen, there was so much of that. The hotel that I stayed in, the person who owned it is family to the people that I rented the cars from. And it's like everyone is one family. And even the people that they meet who they're not directly related to, there's some kind of indirect relation. And I believe that with that kind of network of kinship, it places in the mind of the individual in the community that there are certain boundaries that you do not cross. There are certain violations that you do not commit. There's a sense of love that you must show. in Trinidad, it's so different to that. You rent a car in Tobago. I mean, I don't want to give away too much, but, you know, they're actually telling you, oh, no problem. You know, you could just leave the car at the airport and put the key under the mat. It's like, now, we used to hear about things like that in Trinidad in the 1980s. You know, put the key under a plant pot or under the doormat, whatever. Yeah, we used to do things like that in the 1980s. In fact, I remember living at Reed Lane in Belmont as a child, and, you know, we'd leave the key hanging up on a nail through the ventilation blocks. You just stick your hand through the ventilation blocks, and people passing and seeing you doing that, and it's like, it wasn't a huge thing. So Trinidad is no longer like that, but Tobago still has that. Still has that sense of oneness, that sense of community, that sense of love, of trust. The children are safe. The elderly ladies are safe. You won't see some of the videos of the fights in schools in Tobago in the same way that you see some of them in Trinidad. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but it's so uncommon. And of course, 10 murders is concern for a source of major outrage over there. 10 murders in one section of Trinidad is almost like a new normal. And I heard on the news yesterday or day before that the murder toll was 546. That's 4 away from 550, which is the all-time record. I've seen some of the media get it wrong. But by next week this time, what would be our situation? So being in Tobago, it was almost like being in Africa. Because one of the first comments that I made when I went to Africa for the first time, that was back in October, September into October, I was in Africa, in Ghana. And, you know, coming back to Trinidad, one of the first things I said was being in Africa, being in Ghana, was like being in Trinidad minus the self-hate. That's how it felt. It's like, okay, I'm in Trinidad, but there's no self-hatred. And most of that self-hatred, or a lot of that self-hatred, from my judgment and estimation, comes out of the politics. Once you support some of these political parties, you have to hate your own African people. You have to. You have to accept a subordinate position to some of the wealthy elites in the society and accept doom for yourself and your family, your people in your community. You have to now make excuses for failure, make excuses for not having proper roads or drainage or a reliable electricity or water supply. You join some of these political parties, you have to be a sellout, someone who will voluntarily betray their own people consistently. So being in Ghana was like being in Trinidad minus that, and it was similar in Tobago. I'll tell you another secret. Here I am there renting this car, and I realized that the date on my license, my driver's license, was such that attention, immediate attention. The expiry date on my driver's license was such that immediate attention was required to address it. And the brother said, don't worry, just go to so-and-so place. And I went to so-and-so place, and I don't want to exaggerate, but within about 10 minutes, I was in and out with a brand new driver's license. 10 minutes. Now over here, they're talking about appointment. So I really enjoyed, really enjoyed Tobago. And one of the schools in particular wanted to cancel my presentation because we were only getting to speak to fifth formers. So exams were going on, and so they wanted to reschedule for actually next week, which I won't be able to do. But we're looking at March 2023 to go back and do a similar tour. But this time, you know, maybe hit the east side. Because first time as well that I was exposed to the local perception of the disparity between Tobago East and Tobago West. And at Roxborough, they had paid tribute to all of the great people that came out of Tobago East. But of course, Tobago West is where the airport is, where Scarborough is, where the main shopping malls are, where the major hotels are. So the west side is the more developed or modern side, at least based on that perception. And the east side, there's a perception that it's not just more country area, but needless to say, more neglected. And so that was quite an issue as well. So I hope to go back there in March or April, inshallah. But you know how it goes. I remember going to Antigua. Last time I spoke in Antigua was actually 6 years ago. And we were making plans for me to come back within 4 or 5 months. Then I would have spoken in St. Lucia. I think last time I spoke in St. Lucia was 2013. He said, hey, we're bringing you back next year. This has to happen. That has to happen. Same thing with Barbados. You know, I was there in 2016. All right, we're making plans for 2017. But there's so many different places. So I normally do a series of presentations in England in December, in Chicago in February, Guyana every October, Jamaica every August. And I've been back and forth with both Guyana and Jamaica. And now there's Africa, because I have to be in Africa soon. So there's so much. So, you know, thinking about coming back to Tobago, but also have to go back to Antigua. And also have to go back to St. Vincent and St. Lucia, as well as Barbados. Meanwhile, there's all this going on here in Trinidad with the Kwame Ture Center. So it's a beautiful life. It's a beautiful experience. But sometimes you would have just years pass. Let me tell you, and this is no joke, but one of those schools that I spoke at, I spoke to students who were not born the last time I spoke at that school. And there were teachers in there who were students the last time I spoke at that school. And most of the staff has changed. People come and go. Life goes in cycles. And I am meeting people, because I was so honored to hear the Chief Secretary, Brother Farley Augustine. It was the first time that I met him, but he said that, he said when they were growing up, his father would turn off the television at 8 o'clock. so that the family can listen to the Black Agenda, which would have been my radio program on Power 102 FM at the time. And he also said he remembers his mother taking him to Fairfield Complex to hear me speak and to buy my book. Now, that book wasn't the Black Studies that's out today. I did a book back in 2003 called the Black Studies Anthology. And here I'm listening to the chief secretary talking about when he was literally a child in school. So I'm starting to come to terms with the fact that I'm not a youth anymore. I'm not. You see, I started doing all of this when I was 22, which is considerably young based on the kind of mission that I had. But all these years later, decades, in looking back, children have grown up. Children have been born. The world has changed. But people have come and gone. The mission has to stay. And again, I'm trying to think back. Okay, so the last time I did a full public lecture in Tobago would have been 2016. That's 6 years ago. And when I went up, it was for the launch of Black Studies. I did not speak in any schools. Did I? I think no, I didn't have any main addresses in any schools. And prior to that, it would have been a while. But for this Black History Month, of course, also spoke in a number of other schools across Trinidad. The last one being Malik Senior Comprehensive, or Malik Secondary School, which was just before I left. So it's been a great, great, great run. So the World Cup is going on, and let me just say a couple things about the World Cup. Because I say Africa is winning, or Africans are winning. World Cup opened up with Qatar playing Ecuador. Almost half of the Qatar team are Africans, and almost the entire Ecuador team are Africans. The next day, England plays against Iran. England scores 6 goals. 5 of them scored by Africans. Saudi Arabia beats Argentina. Half of Argentina's team, half of Saudi Arabia's team, none of Argentina's team. I've never supported that team. Half of Saudi Arabia's team are Africans. Of course, you have all these European countries with African people. As a matter of fact, Belgium beat Cameroon. 1-0. Not Belgium, Switzerland. Belgium have so many Africans. Belgium have the biggest, strongest, blackest African in the whole World Cup plays for Belgium. His name is Onana. Now, the goalkeeper for Cameroon is also named Onana. But imagine, think about this. Switzerland are playing against Cameroon. And Switzerland beat Cameroon 1-0. But the player in Switzerland who scored against Cameroon is an African brother who was born in Cameroon. How do you beat that? The thing is, when he scored the goal, of course, out of respect, he did not celebrate. He just basically stood there, and his teammates kind of surrounded him, hugged him, and I believe he had almost like a minor nervous breakdown because he was crying. That's something else. Don't talk about USA. The president of Liberia in Africa, the country Liberia, is a former footballer. His name is George Weah. George Weah has a son who's also a professional footballer. Does George Weah Jr. play for Liberia? No, he plays for USA. And he scored USA's only goal so far for the World Cup. The only goal that USA scored was scored by an African from Liberia. The only goal that Switzerland has scored so far for the World Cup was scored by an African from the Cameroon. 5 out of the 6 goals that were scored by England were scored by Africans. And 2 of them from the young brother Saka, whose parents are from Nigeria. So, all around, and I love Cristiano Ronaldo, and I'm happy for him in breaking that record. So he's now the first footballer ever to have scored in 5 straight World Cups. But why at the expense of Ghana calling a penalty where 2 men are running side by side, one man is stronger than the other, so the weaker one falls down, wasn't kicked, wasn't tackled, wasn't skated, nothing. No foot-to-foot contact, nothing. 2 men running side by side, their thighs clash. The weaker one falls on the ground, the stronger one stays up but falls down too, and they give a penalty for that. Sad. But of course, Ghana came back to score twice, and Portugal won 3-2. So I'm happy for Ronaldo that he's now the only player ever to score in 5 straight World Cups, but all of these calls that went unnoticed throughout the whole World Cup that were 100 times worse. But Ronaldo got the call, he got the penalty. So it's a joy to see our people in all of these different scenarios. Even Trinidad and Tobago. Well, Trinidad and Tobago has a player who is, or at least England has a player who's eligible to play for Trinidad and Tobago. That's Jadon Sancho. And also USA have a player who is eligible to play for Trinidad and Tobago. He's playing in the World Cup right now. His name is Moore. He's the son of a former national footballer called Wendell Moore, who used to play for Trinidad and Tobago. So imagine if Wendell Moore Jr. was playing for Trinidad and Jadon Sancho was playing for Trinidad and Tobago, and George Weah Jr. was playing for Liberia, and the brother, what was his name, Okolo from Switzerland, if he was playing for Cameroon. It's a hell of a thing. It's a hell of a thing. But the World Cup has been very interesting so far. Very entertaining and a lot of lessons learned. All right, so let me open up the phone lines and take some of your calls. 342-0081 and 466-5391. Caller, good morning.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, my brother.
You want to be a brother committed and love your people to leave your house and come out in this weather, you know, but anyway.
when I could have been looking at Tunisia play.
Australia.
Yeah, I think Australia leading, right?
Yeah. When I say yes, brother, this brother really come. A lot of people don't understand work that you are doing, you know, it's so deep and it's so far and so committed, brother David. It's something else. But only yesterday, you know what I'm saying, brother? I saw the goal that the guys called the Cameroonian sport. You know what I'm saying? And you can see like he felt it after.
Yeah, he cried.
Yes, I saw it. You know, I was telling brother yesterday, I said, what happened? In time to come, all of Europe will be Africans playing for them. The whole of Europe. When you look at it.
But well, listen, in the Euros last year,
yeah,
and here what's so ironic. Remember, it was 3 black players who missed the penalty for the Euro finals last year for England, and they were the victims of some of the worst racism seen in England for years.
Yeah.
Between two out of those three players, they scored 3 goals in the World Cup last week. And now they're being celebrated. But you think they don't have it in the back of their minds that if they had missed penalties, they'd have once again been the victims of racist abuse? Once they understand what's going on.
Yeah, we have to understand as people. But anyway, I want to say something again. I want to say I never really accepted Jack Warner for putting Kamala Prasad in power. But you see, Jack Warner, we have to give, I heard the Prime Minister said he shamed Trinidad and Tobago. Jack Warner is the man who put Trinidad and Tobago on the world map.
But that's
when
it.
He sent them to Germany and Bahrain.
Exactly.
I think Jack Warner was still there.
Exactly.
He knows, he understands the game of football. You understand what's going on. You don't get there. So
but you know, I am kind of taken aback. Honestly, and I'll be frank about this, with any politician in this country who condemns Jack Warner for bringing shame on the country and so, because let the first member of parliament who's done more for their community than he has done, let them be the first to talk. And some of these politicians have such a dreadful reputation of neglecting their own and going after and helping the rich to become more prosperous while spitting on their own people. I think all 41 of them should be very cautious about what they have to say about Jack Warner.
I'm telling you.
And I'm telling you, and hear this too, I believe that that American government and the Attorney General and even the officials at FIFA who were trying to bring him down, I am sure before they made that move, they would have taken all the factors into consideration, and they would have probably thought, what kind of support would he get from his own country? And I'm sure they would have had some discussion, some meetings, say, no, they just tried to bring him down over there, you know. They hate the man, regardless of all that he did for them. They hate him. So we can go ahead and make the move.
Because see, Brother David, the way, look when the court give that decision. Look when football is about to start.
Yeah, but it was timed also along with the Netflix documentary, which,
exactly.
Yeah, if you see it and don't know really the truth behind it, you will think, oh, this man has to go to jail.
But yeah.
In fact, I wouldn't say that, because one thing that the documentary does highlight, which is good, is that what they're accusing him of was done by so many of them.
All of them.
That is the norm. That is the culture of FIFA. That's how it's done. That's what they do.
I have a document on FIFA here, and they do it. All of them do it. You understand?
Yeah. And let me ask this. Do you know who Horace Burrell is? Does that name ring a bell?
It's ring a bell, but I can't really place it.
Okay, so Horace Burrell, let me say it like this. Horace Burrell, well, he passed recently, but he's like the Jack Warner of Jamaica.
Okay.
He has been in charge of the Jamaican Football Federation for a good while, maybe as much as 15, 20 years, I'm not sure. But he's also a very wealthy man. He has his own helicopter. He owns so many businesses all across Jamaica. You know, black man. And, well, I guess one good about him is that he never went into politics. But the whole country loves him. And he was also suspended, you know, because he was there at the meeting in Trinidad with when Bin Haman had given his gifts and so on. Now, the way that Jamaica would stand up and defend Horace Burrell, like I said, he's passed now, compared to Trinidad and Jack Warner, it goes back to the point that I'm making about politics.
Yes.
And how it transforms us into destroyers of one another. When you look at how much millions of dollars was invested to try to destroy Jack Warner, one man, with television ads, newspaper, radio.
Who has done so much, Brother David. He has helped so many poor people all hours in the morning. People go and meet Jack Warner for assistance for help. You understand? He helps them. You understand? I'm glad you really point out politics, you know. Because you know why? The nasty game in politics. That's why I don't support political parties. You see the election going on now? Into the election?
Oh, well, I wouldn't even talk about that. I mean, but it's a cycle. You see it happen all the time. Again, internal self-destruction because of this lust for some kind of power or position.
Because look at the woman. She's going up, and look at the things they're saying about her, and they belong to the same party. Game of politics. Wow. It's a dirty game. And you have to understand. If you don't understand, you get caught up in it and become a fanatic in it. You understand? But you know, Brother David, it's nice to see you come out as usual. And it's nice to know that you went to Tobago. You see, long ago, when your mother was going, it's like this is rainy season. You get a sun in the morning, and about between 11 and 12, you get rain. You understand? And what you would do, they would open the clothes on the line, and they go through. And they say they never pick up the clothes somewhere. They leave the door open. The door open, you don't lock door and close door. Yeah. You understand? And they pick up the clothes, carry it inside, they pull it up, and they rest it there. That's the kind of love, the kind of life we have. And that we have still existing to be, and I hope it never change. Because of politics, you understand? And because of people who are going across there and wanting to say that they come here to do farming. When Tobago used to supply we with food here long ago for ground provision. I see a little youth man in Tobago just out of school planting lettuce and supplying, you understand? The hotels and the Tobago. Under the other regime that was there. Then they used to move around with Tobago today and show all these farmers what they are doing. Trinidadians and export goods, you understand, from Tobago. And there are these guys, these Indian guys, saying want to go to help Tobago then to do farming. I hope that's party have a head on. But anyway, have a nice, my sister, you understand, I hope she have up with it. This weather.
Thank you, my brother.
Yeah.
And let me say this. I did have one really bad experience in Tobago. After admit one what I would consider really bad experience. And I have to thank one of my brothers for helping me out with that. But what I'm speaking about is, so the TTPS did the arrangement for my flights to go up and come back down. But I extended my time there for the school tour. Because at first everything was to be done within the first 2 days, but then it spread out further. So I had to change the flight. That was a humiliating experience. Because you're being told all kinds of stuff. Well, you have a ticket, but you have to give up the ticket to go on standby. And if you give up your ticket, then you might not get a flight at all. And it was crazy. I had to check in my bag, take my bag back. They said go to the gate and see what could happen. You know, so you phone someone and someone helps out and so on. But ordinarily, you should be able to go to Tobago with the same ease of travel as, say, you're in Port of Spain and you want to travel to San Fernando. Or you're in Arima and you want to travel to Point Fortin. Or you're in Toco and you want to travel to Chaguanas. To be told under some circumstances, well, there are no flights until, so today is Saturday, well, the next flight available is Tuesday. Or it's Monday, say, well, you can't leave until Wednesday. Then you want to leave at a particular time, they say, well, the only flight that's available is at 9 o'clock tonight. That's insane. And every opportunity that I got, I had to share my thoughts with this. Because clearly, everyone who is in a position of authority to make a decision to change that does not experience that problem. Because you have these reserved seats, and they just make a phone call and show up and get that privilege for themselves. So to hell with everybody else. That has to change. I remember it wasn't always like this. At one time, again, don't have all the details, but I remember clearly at one time there was a bigger plane that used to go across. So anyone could just show up at the airport and you'll get to go to Tobago. 20 years ago, 22 years ago, 22 years ago, I started doing speaking tours at the schools in Tobago, and I used to do everything in one day. I'll take the first flight out, be interviewed on Radio Tambourine, then I'll go to one school, then a second school, then after lunch go to a third one, possibly a fourth one, then I'll have a public meeting at like the Fairfield complex, and then I'll take the last plane back out. It was so much. If we finished up a bit earlier, it was easy to get another flight. Or wanted to go a bit later, it's simple, it's straightforward. Now they're telling you days. That is just ridiculous. In fact, it's actually unbelievable. And that's a grave injustice in my opinion. Terrible, terrible, terrible situation. All right, we'll be back after the break. Stay with us, don't go away.
The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the Street 919 FM.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the Street 919 FM. 91.9 is counting down 91 days of Christmas. Yes, 91 days of Christmas. It's karaoke, prizes to be won, giveaways. It's the 91 days of Christmas on the Street 919 FM.
I could sing a good serenade. Oh, it's Christmas.
Want to furnish your home in style? Stylish Furniture makes this possible. Shop using our affordable layaway options to purchase any of our modern sectionals, dining, living room, or bedroom sets, and receive a dinner voucher for two at Atelier's Restaurant and Lounge. For further information, contact us at 652-2542, 652-2688, and 790-1202. You can also visit any of our branches located at 101 Crackness Village, Princestown, and 51 Rushwood Street in San Fernando. Stylish Furniture, for the style in you.
Music on ya. Keep your acting with your daughter. Music on ya. Maximum sound. Keep your acting with your daughter. This is the reggae music from Jamaica. Jonah Bamali and Wheeler. Rocksteady. To the drum and bass, yeah. Roll your waist down in the place, yeah. I see thugs with slugs, marijuana. They are with Kim Susie Thailand. Big sound sing up a play upon the corner.
Social Scotiabank Magna MasterCard is back with its special Christmas giveaway. Just swipe for more rewards. Every time you swipe your card, get instantly entered for a chance to win 1,500 points on your Scotiabank Magna MasterCard. Get more this Christmas. More points, more rewards, more money. Swipe for more rewards today with your Scotiabank Magna MasterCard. Promotion runs until January 15th, 2023. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Visit magnarewards.com for more details. Approved by the NLCB.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. in the morning on the Street 919 FM radio. Hear my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
The steel pan, the only musical instrument invented in the 20th century, is a reflection of the perseverance and innovativeness of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, which have always been central to our development as a nation. And the steel pan story epitomizes this, carved out of life and struggle and determination, rising out of the spirit of the African drum. The steel pan stands today as evidence of innovativeness, creativity, and passion for life integral to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. My name is Kwesi Paul. Join me each and every Sunday from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight on the Street 91.9 FM.
Looking for a safe and relaxed professional massage therapist and nutritionist? Look no further. Nature's Touch with Empress Judy and Associates offers a natural approach to better health. Treat yourself to a professional massage therapy and nutrition advice in a safe and relaxed atmosphere. Rejuvenate your body, mind, and soul at Nature's Touch Therapy. For an appointment, please call or WhatsApp 1-868-398-8282 or visit our Facebook page. Remember, your health is our responsibility at Nature's Touch.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. Brotherhood is obligatory. Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen. So there's a need for brotherhood. Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen. Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen. Brotherhood is demanded. Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen. Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. Brotherhood is obligatory. Brotherhood is essential, it is urgent, and it is compulsory. But the time demands brotherhood. Whenever the dominant white society fears for its economic future, racial tensions are always aggravated. The aim of Almighty God is to bring the black man and woman together. The aim of Almighty God is that we, no matter how divided we have been in the past, must experience unity in order to gain the success that we seek and the progress that we desire. There is no way that a divided people can build a future. Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. So there's a need for brotherhood. But if you walk the earth proud and arrogant, you never learn your lesson because you think you already know. And how in the hell could you know and be in the shape that we're in? How can there be any brotherhood if there's not even the honoring of a word?
Black man, get up. Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen. Black man, get up. Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen. Black man, get up. Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen.
But the Quran and the Bible bear witness that the heavens and the earth were created with truth.
Black man, stand up. Black man, you better listen.
Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. Brotherhood is obligatory. Brotherhood is essential. It is urgent and it is compulsory. I feel that every man that wants to speak should have the right. And if you think you know it better, get on up. Come on. And get on and do the job. But if you don't know what to do, come on, and all your mouth is able to do is condemn and criticize, but you have no works to show the rightness of your philosophical adherence, then maybe you should rethink your position.
Welcome back and welcome to the second hour of the Black Agenda here on the Street 919 FM. I am David Muhammad. We're going up to 9 o'clock, inshallah. And in a short while, we will continue to take your calls on 342-0081 and 466-5391. Now, I want to take the opportunity to thank for their great work, acknowledge for them being an inspiration, and congratulate the St. James Police Youth Club, and in particular our brother Officer Derek Shabadi for the work that he has been doing and is known to do. But the St. James Police Youth Club have just crossed 30 years of service. And now more than ever before in Trinidad and Tobago, we need youth clubs, youth associations, youth organizations, opportunities where young people can speak out, represent themselves, be heard, have their voices broadcasted, giving them forums to demonstrate their intelligence, their leadership skills. But you must have persons who are role models and mentors who can facilitate those activities, and Brother Derek Shabadi has been at the forefront of that for as long as I have known him, which I think is more than 2 decades or so. So congratulations and thank you to the St. James Police Youth Club for 30 years of service, and we look forward to much more from you, and we also look forward so much to partnering with you from the George Padmore Boys Academy based at the Kwame Ture Center for so many activities to take place. So best wishes and thank you, Brother Derek Shabadi. And today is also the last session of the George Padmore Boys Academy for 2022. So this morning we're doing the recap. It's a special session that is entitled Knowledge is Power. And so from 10 o'clock this morning to 11:30 at the Kwame Ture Center, we will be having our final session. And as we always do at the end of each cycle, this is our second cycle, we have a special lunch. So our people are invited. Remember, the George Padmore Boys Academy at the Kwame Ture Center, we intake young men ages 5 to 17. All right, and we have a range of powerful, inspirational teachings, activities for them. We will be resuming in mid-January for the Boys Academy with our third cycle of another series of topics and activities and teachings. It's going to be it was a great second cycle, and it's going to be a powerful third one as well. So, to all of our people, parents, you can bring out the young men this morning, and of course, lunch will be served afterwards. Our agriculture program is continuing, is expanding, and I want to especially invite you as well to African Expo number 13. African Expo number 13. It's coming up in, what's that? 3 Saturdays from now. 3 Saturdays from now. Saturday, December 17th at the Kwame Ture Center for the entire day. Of course, this is for the holiday season. We're focusing on Kwanzaa. We're focusing on 2023. There's all the craft. And, there have been a lot of similar markets. Of course, our African Expo is branded the Black Market. African-owned business, entrepreneurs, small, micro enterprise is different companies, information being shared, people networking. And there have been, since we've started, of course, like I said, we're on to number 13, there have been quite a few similar kinds of markets, and especially for this December. Different groups are having their expos in a similar kind of fashion, basically looking at black business, and that is great. A lot of them funded by the ministry of this and the ministry of that and this group or that group. Some don't have any African people involved, but they're trying to appeal to African shoppers to come and spend their money there. So I say support. Support. Remember, we are self-funded. Everything that we have done, all the work that we do, we're self-funded. We raise money from the work that we do. Also in January, we're going to start off more or less, you can say, a crash course for the CXC students at the Kwame Ture Center. That would run from January to about May. And of course, the agriculture program, like I said, we're growing lettuce, tomatoes, put down like 100 tomato seeds over the last week. Pak choy, corn, scythe, melangen, so much. And we're getting the youth to do it as well. So, support the work, people. And tomorrow, final presentation for Black History Month at the Community Center. I'm lecturing tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock. All right, beloved family. So, let's open back up the phone lines, 342-0081 and 466-5391. As we go up to 9 o'clock. And, of course, flooding, I think, has been the main issue in the news. However, of course, the crime situation is also being monitored. And, oh God, a 14-year-old boy killed. And then I think last night there were 3 people. But so much has to be done, and it doesn't have to be done only by the police or by the Ministry of National Security or by the protective services. Has to be done by all of us. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, Brother David. I'm really enjoying your program for all the information. Could you touch a little bit on this background on this Black Friday sale and what it represents? I just wanted to I feel it have a real deeper significance behind it, just to give a context, because I know a lot of people go crazy with these sales and they probably didn't know the background of it. So I just wanted to get a touch on it a little bit. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for that. So recently, I'd say within the last few years in particular, this consciousness has come up about the Black Friday sale and its proper origins. And it is said that it's widely believed that the Black Friday sale was an extension of the sale of enslaved Africans at a reduced price. All right? And there is, I would say, sufficient evidence to show and prove that. But I've noticed with that particular consciousness, there has been a denial of it. Quite a blatant denial of Black Friday being a advertisement or an occasion of a reduced cost on enslaved Africans. But I believe that is the origin of it. Of course, people will deny almost anything. But, yeah, originating out of the United States of America, this idea of a Black Friday sale was quite common. And now, of course, it's taken on a whole different meaning altogether. But thanks for raising that. Caller, good morning.
Yes, Brother David.
Yes, sir.
You believe if the Jews and they had that experience, that they could have been talking about a Black Friday still around the world, any part of the world? If the Jews had gone through the experience that our ancestors went through, they could have, at least as a matter of fact, they wouldn't even entertain the thought.
Of course.
To talk about a Black Friday sale and the ignorance of our people here believe, you understand, that it is something, you understand, to get involved, to take your money and to spend your money. No, you're buying your ancestors and who went through that experience, and they know what they're doing. You think they don't know? They know exactly what it is they're doing. But Brother David, I want to also the Prime Minister of Barbados, that lady.
True hero. True Caribbean hero.
Black conscious hero, Brother David. And she's a connection with Africa. It's so conscious and so real, you understand?
It's refreshing.
I tell you, they're going to open some pharmaceuticals business in Barbados, connected with Africa. You know, we are so creative that they take all our ideas and they bring it back. And we don't utilize our ideas. You know, in South Africa, they are using this fruit, passion fruit. They're using passion fruit to package drinks now instead of the plastic, because they're saying the plastic is not good, and they're using the passion fruit. You understand? They put the skin of it and making packages to package drinks that is more healthy for you. You understand? Another thing I want to touch on very bit is that no, you don't know hear no Chinese going on a platform and saying anything against a Chinese woman that was said by a Chinese man, you understand, on the platform. That degrading of a Chinese, you never know what there is. And you know what happened? We encourage it because that is nothing. You understand? And they know exactly what it is they are doing. You will never see that. And it happen, you understand, on the platform in this election that is going on there. It's a sad thing to see, you understand? To hear, you understand, coming out, and the leaders wouldn't condemn it. You understand? As a matter of fact, the leaders using those type of language. It's a contest, it's a competition. It's just you're playing, you understand? It's who, you understand? Could you outwit who? And what is it, in winning, that's all about. You understand? You don't have to go this low, you understand, in order to say. Yeah. And you see Mr. Manning? I would never forget Mr. Manning, you know, what it did to Mr. Manning.
This country misses him so much.
I tell him because
this country misses him so much, yeah.
You know what I realize, where if I go, I realize there's so many things that he put in place, like the removing from the places. For instance, he knows what the contribution of the elderly in this country to where it is today. You understand? And that's why he put something in place to give them back something. Like a travel to Tobago and the bus and so, you understand? And like they are removing this thing that he has done. He was a great man, understand? And they always have to talk about Mr. Manning. Have a nice day, my brother.
Yep, that's right. Thank you. Caller, good morning.
Blessed morning to you, Brother David.
Blessings to you.
What year did serve in the TNTFA?
Say again?
What year did you serve in TNTFA? Yes.
I was manager of the national team from 2007 to 2011 under Jack Warner, and then I was reappointed in 2013 under Raymond Timke to 2016. So, to the best of my knowledge, I am the longest serving manager of the national football team, and I believe, well, until a young brother, Adrian Romaine, prior to him, I was the youngest as well. I was 37 years old when I was appointed manager. So up to that point, I was the youngest, but I was definitely the longest serving. I've been to about 25 countries with the national team, and I was manager for 126 senior team games, about 20 games with the national under-23 team, and 2 tours, which is about 10 games with the national under-17. So there you go.
And under your stewardship, did the players receive little stipend?
If they receive stipends?
Yeah. For playing and thing now.
Of course.
Right. What I'm saying is that I ain't giving Jack Warner no ratings. I'm telling you.
You believe what?
I'm not giving Jack Warner no ratings. You see, he was in a corrupt organization. Face the consequences for what went on there. But that is not my point, Brother David. My point is this. In Sudan, you have gold mining going on. In Congo, you have the president about 27 blocks within the forest of the Congo for quote-unquote developers who want to develop oil and gas and mining, also the gold mining. What is going on, Brother David, is a slow poisoning of the Nile River and of the Congo River. I'll tell you why. They are importing cyanide and mercury to mine gold. And Sudan, just yesterday, Al Jazeera bring up a little problem about about it. The farmers, the land that these people are gold mining on, the waste have entered the rivers and polluting it. The same thing is going on in the Congo. Because you have to remember, Brother David, in Brazil, about 2017, one of these waste dams burst in Brazil, and 217 people lost their lives. The whole tributary that was going into the Amazon, everything, they died. Fish, all livestock, all trees. You understand what I'm saying? So the African Union is selling out to quote-unquote developers to poison. They are poisoning the tributaries and major rivers. I would like the African Union to think twice before giving out these contracts.
All right, thank you. Caller, good morning.
A pleasure. Good morning, Brother Mohammed. Early morning.
Good morning to you.
First-time caller.
Oh, welcome, welcome.
Hi. Yes, I just wanted to touch a bit about the Black Friday. It's a passion of mine, and you know what, Brother Mohammed? If our people know that the power that we wield as a black race, and when they come together, we are forced to reckon with. And if they know that, we'll be a better people. And when I did my background, now I live in the States for almost 30 years. And, you know, I've been part of the Black Friday sale and so when I found out what it was really about, for me, if you're giving it to me free, I don't want it. And certain other sales and stuff they have, like Thanksgiving and all of these things, if people really know the background to this, they would stay far, far out. Black Friday sale, I can up for hours and sleeping on the pavement of Walmart to get televisions and this, that. I'm like, people, before you do that, find out what you're doing. What is this really about? And the history behind this is so sad, what they've done to our foreparents. You know, how they treated our men. Men, husbands look at their wives, leave and never to see their wives and their children. And, you know, I respect everyone, but with a grain of salt. And it's like, wow. And we are people, a lot of stuff that has been created or invented in this world that we live in is at the hands of a black person. You know, I remember Chrysler, for instance, the latest the 300, that car. It was and is the best-selling vehicle of all time for Chrysler. It was built by a 24-year-old black young man from Atlanta, Georgia. You know, and as I know that you know that a lot of, as I said, inventions that, you know, that we use in today's world, they stole it from us, you know. And they think, well, hey, we can do this and do that, and, you know, they look at us. But I also believe that they're afraid of us. They're afraid of us if we come together as a people, put our minds together, you know, what we could accomplish, what we really could accomplish. And if we as a black race know, and I've been to Africa like you have been, because I've worked with a major airline in America. And for Mohammed, our people, they come to America to advance their career, or, you know, it's for what they can get, and they go right back. I say Americans don't know what a mansion is all about. You know, they don't know what, I mean, our people are lawyers, doctors, architects, they're into some of the most, you know, some jobs that it's like, certain jobs they wouldn't take, you know, because they are a proud people, you know. And I was like, wow. And if I had known what I know then before I went to Africa, Brother Muhammad, I'm telling you right now, my children would not have been for a Caucasian man. My husband is Italian. It wouldn't be. I would find the blackest man that I can find, the blackest educated man, and let my children be for that man. I was so proud of being a black woman when I stepped foot the first time in Johannesburg, because I'm like, wow, they don't show you what we could accomplish. They don't show you who we really are. They show you that we, big
That's
belly
right.
and flies.
They show us who they would like us to be or who they would like us to stay as.
Yeah, And I'm like, wait. But I am proud to be a black woman. I'm proud to be an African. And I tell my children every day, if I ever get the opportunity to relocate and to live somewhere else other than Trinidad and Tobago, I would go to Africa. I'll go to Africa in a heartbeat, So, people we just need to look at our research, get information, because information is power, and we would be better. We will, as I said, stop the killing, stop hitting each other. We need to stop it. And I think, as I said, they are afraid of who we are. If we can come together as a people, they know we'd be a force to be reckoned with Dr. Muhammad.
Yes.
I really believe that. So thanks for your time. Thanks for taking my call. Bye now.
Thank you so much for your encouragement and inspiration. And as we raise the question in Tobago, how could African people have all of this great history, first human beings on earth, creators of so many inventions, built the first universities and schools and first towns and cities, but that not be taught in the school? We'll be right back.
We are The Street. 919 FM. The only radio station bringing perfect balance between entertainment and talk. Updating you with current affairs and social issues.
So what, we should just sit down and take the foolishness that's being meted out because of all you feel that all you're real bad?
Right? Unlike his situation that I don't even want to go back and bring up and highlight.
You don't have a good record where that is concerned?
Having you in the loop with trends and entertainment. Providing music that lives on.
Darling, I feel the disco.
And spiritual food for the body, mind, and soul.
Satan show full face. We're not taking that.
The Street. 919 FM.
You've got bills to pay. And so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the Street 919 FM.
For the leadership position. A hard-working soldier for years in the PNM. He went for the leader of the party, so there we support my friend. Hey, Ronald Boy, for leader of the party. Come on, everybody. Ronald Boy, we supporting a hard work.
And that was a paid political announcement.
Rated as the #1 event of the 90s. Some say it was the best era ever.
I heard he sang
Others say it was the event that touched the heart and soul of a generation. Whatever it was, on Saturday, December 3rd, at the Center of Excellence, we will all rise and reconnect to Michelle's. Everyone is talking about it. You have to be there for this once-in-a-lifetime experience. Hurry and get your tickets now. Limited General and Island VIP tickets are now available online at suntix.com. St. Augustine Green Machine Alumni Committee, Bobby's Bar, Curep, Cache Stores, La Luna Diner, Aruka, Extra Foods, Devon Home Furnishings, Eldorado, Scrapes Car Wash and Laundry, Trim City, Sensational Sammy Seafood, Arima, and Bamba Star Lounge. St. Augustine. Michelle's. The journey back to the future has begun.
This is the voice of Tuesday, Seventh-day Adventist. We are preaching Emergency Alert broadcast, which is from the Tuesday, Seventh-day Adventist Church. We will be featuring voices of brethren from different parts of the world, preaching the gospel, preaching prophecy as it relates to current events and the ending of the world. Listen to us on 91.9 FM every Sunday from 9:05 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Sundays. May God bless you as you learn the truth. In Jesus' name, amen.
My fellow members of the PNM, I am Junior Samuel Barrack, candidate for political leader of our beloved PNM. I am one of the most effective, successful, and fearless representatives of your interests in the history of this PNM in delivering to its base. I get things done. You are assured that I will put you first in everything that I do. As you are aware, I have been involved in improving the lives of thousands of families in unofficial settlements, commonly referred to as squatters. We invite you to support our campaign by donating to our First Citizens account number 181-7916, Junior Samuel Barrack. Your contribution can support ads like these and our campaign to spread our message.
That was a paid political announcement.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
All right, so let us continue. Welcome back. It is 8:35. We're going up to 9 o'clock. We're taking your calls on 342-0081 and 466-5391. Caller, good morning.
Brother Muhammad, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, sir.
Brother Muhammad, I'm still supporting Karen USC Sheriff. Brother Muhammad,
yes.
The last time I spoke to you, I told you how two governments, the UNC and the PNM, and the both of them left our borders defenseless. Let me add one more for you, Brother David. Governments.
Defenseless against who? Just curious. Defenseless against...
Say again?
Against whom?
They left our borders defenseless.
I know, but defenseless against whom? Who was the threat of encroaching our borders?
Brother David?
Yeah?
You heard they found a headless?
Yes.
At the side of the road or something like that?
Yes.
And you heard there's a threat with a mafia thing going on?
Is that what you're referring to?
I told you how I told you one time, it wasn't Venezuelans alone that came into Trinidad, Brother David. Wasn't Venezuelans alone. And as I was saying, let me add one more for you. Two governments, the both of them, years trying to get that oil deal with Venezuela. The UNC, 5 years, 14 days, and 3 months, they couldn't get it, Brother David. Dr. Rowley, 7 years, and he can't get it yet, Brother David. That oil deal with Venezuela. And I strongly believe that oil deal has been problems right now, Brother David. Brother David, we'll talk again. I will leave it there for now.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Now, that head that was found, I'm not sure if the body has been recovered as yet, but so a man's head was cut off and left at the side of the road. Here what concerns me about that, in addition to the obvious. The fact that so many people feel comfortable posting that image on their social media. It's confusing. You know, when you look at some of the kinds of images that people post or put on their profile for social media, some very, very gruesome things, like a person being shot multiple times, person being chopped up, person being burnt to death. In this case, a headless body or a head severed from a body. And people put this on their feed. And as my brother Nuri Muhammad pointed out, on social media, when you put information on your status, it's called your feed. So you're posting something on Facebook, they say, do you want to put it as your story or do you want to put it on your feed? Now, when you post something like that, of course, it's not feeding you physically, but it's feeding you mentally. Your feed is the granting of your food. And in this case, your feed on social media is your food for thought. And we're feeding the mind. Bloodshed, death, decapitation of heads, and gruesome images. Being shot, being stabbed, being chopped, falling from a building, being hit by a car. These are things that people put on their feed. And so you're feeding your mind with that, and then as a man thinks, so is he. You cannot be a different person to what your mind is saying. You cannot be a different person to what your mind is habitually processing. If information of a certain type or brand is constantly entering into your mind unfiltered, it will eventually have some kind of effect on your process of thinking. There are things that we look at and see on a daily basis now that at one time in our own lives we would have been horrified to witness. There are things that we turn towards and pay attention to now that at one time in our life we would have turned away from or covered our eyes in shock or say, I can't look at that. Now we're looking at it and sharing it. And so the sensitivity levels for pain, suffering, death, grief are minimals, diminishing. And that sensitivity is part of our humanity, so we can conclude that we're becoming less and less human. And under the traps, tricks, and snares of this capitalist economy, there are even further requirements of you to be less human, to compete for limited resources, to try to survive, as so many end up selling their souls. But our minds have become almost numb. I don't know if 30 years ago, if a headless body or the head of a body was found cut off, I don't know if it would have been so widely circulated on social media, people showing it, sharing it with others. I don't know. But I do know now that many are beginning to see things like that as normal. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, Brother David.
Good morning, my sister.
That is so sad and so sick. The school children fighting, people sharing that around. People just waiting for somebody else to die to say, look, you see the government and the debt is so much and so much. What are we becoming as a people? People being intimate, same-sex people being intimate, they are passing that around and showing it to each other. Why are we doing these things? You know, you wonder sometimes what is feeding what, because the society is becoming thicker and thicker. It's clear to see. Why are you encouraging the children fighting in the schools by passing it around? That is part of the thing. They want to be this 2 minutes of fame. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's really bad. It's really bad where that is concerned, and that is showing how sick of a people we are becoming. Anyway, Brother David, I tuned in late. My goodness. But thanks anyway again for your program. Good. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Brother David. How are you?
Yes, I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Brother David, it just to show you what society is going to be in the future. Because everything with it is fun.
You're breaking up a bit.
Society don't really care about the people anymore, you know. Our politicians get so caught up in so much fairy tale story, they don't really care about the people on the ground. Because just yesterday, I had to part a fight with about 2 school clash right in front of my business place, and because I intervened and tried to call the police. You know, when the police came, about an hour later, when the kids had done disappear because they know that people
what area is that?
That is Shoguana's North and Shoguana's West.
Yes.
East. Clash every Friday, them clashing up. And normally police patrol the school every 2:30 when they're over, but like yesterday, because she wanna fill up traffic. So the police didn't get to come on time to patrol the area. And David, them beat a little youth man mercilessly. He was out of his clothes. All time clothes enough. Clothes left, right there. So the police the clothes on the ground. And the young man's shoes. Beat him merciless. And when I talk to him, I look at that one. First, he tell me he can shot me. Mr. Tim say, yo, you and your father would have to promise me that. Mr. You have to promise me that. Because I will deal with you so bad out here. Your parents will have to come and meet me because I'm sure no. Your mother and father may be out there working hard and investing in their education, but you're out here in a gang war. See how I tell him? I'm going to go home and tell him, I tell you that. Because I'm sure no they invest a lot of money in you. But you're out here. And you know what hurt my brother David? Is the girls that brother David picking these things up because they was like they're like a cheerleader around the situation. I end up finding no one to say, hey, stop, done. David, if you see traffic and people jumping out them car, running out them car, the people try to squash these things with these kids. And when you see this one fight, this 3 more fights along the line going down, and people after coming out them car to see what's going on. Like, this man have said to one of you, they were like, oh, Satan pit me. And I said, but I talk that all the while on the radio. These generation, they are Satan pit me. And I talk all the while. I don't know if David word is going through the ears and coming out one way, but I don't know how comes. For the past 20 years, me I listen to you, and I take a eat from you. And these youth here can't take a page out of your book. What's going on with them? David, I think you need to visit those 2 schools and reason with those youths and them. That's what is in showing up on Ellen Street. I believe you need an immediate intervention from somebody like you to deal with these boys. Every Friday is a clash. And if we don't stop, we're going to end up seeing more headless on the highway. More headless. David, you can imagine I go into my little already where I call you about the other day. I call so many people in the politics and world, especially in the PNM.
All right, but wait, did you get my response to what you were saying?
Yes, I get the response.
Okay.
Right. So I decided to call a lot of them. I went into the MP office in Labantil. Up till now, we have returned my call. We went to the embassy tried to reach out to him. He have returned the call back to them. And you know, Brother David, I decided to call some friends of mine in the UNC. And it's about 4 lawyers that don't send to me already, David. 4 lawyers, they already sent to meet me. I'm going to meet them on Tuesday. Because I'm not taking this from this and in all situation with them. Because I comply with everything they ask me to do. And when I reach there, they want to hold on for me. And told me I have 6 days to come up with $3,000. I said I'm not paying aside the rest thing. I already paid it already. They told me that the first bond that I have is no longer valued. So that money I spent before is going down the drain.
Well, I hope you get through with that.
There's going to be war between me and them. They're talking for national here. I ain't taking that. I don't have refugees mark in my passport. I'm not a refugee. I didn't came through no banana boat. I didn't came through that. I came on a plane. I am a human being. Don't deal me like I'm an animal. You understand me? You know a lady almost have baby on their doorstep. They will not go on there. And all they're calling the ambulance to come take the lady. They told the lady if she leave, they will send police and arrest her. A guy needs to jump in the middle and say, hey, I'm going with her to in the hospital. They tell him, if you leave too, you can't come back here and seize your passport and lock you up. When the girls have to lock you up, because a woman making baby out here in the rain. In the rain, you know. You try to tell me Fitzgerald and can't put a shed over that center of the people want to show their passport and things.
All right, my brother. Well, let's see how it pans out, okay? But keep in touch with me. But
well,
I hope you remember my response on that
I don't
other
write
matter.
all the media house in Jamaica already.
What's
I write
that?
all the publisher them. I write all the media house in Jamaica headline it.
About what?
They publish it. What's going on here?
Okay, wait. Did you really get my response?
David, I get your response, you know.
Right, because I am in total disagreement with how that matter is being characterized. A lot of people are being killed in Trinidad and Tobago. We have an extraordinarily high murder rate. I do not think that any particular nationality is being singled out and being killed. That is just totally false. And if information like that is sent to another country about this country, and the persons who receive that information don't have any means of verifying, in other words, if they take it on face value, then that could lead to a very consequential misleading of information. And if that circulates, that could only be bad for both communities. Okay, no, I'm telling you, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you.
I want to give you 3 murder right now, right? When the guy was leaving his workplace in Diego Martin in the supermarket, was heading home to Cocoreed, where the guy must have passed through one gang. Why was he murdered?
So what are you saying? He was murdered because he was Jamaican?
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
I went to Cocoreed. I went down there, Diego Martin. I went down there, David.
Okay, so let me tell you something.
What really went wrong enough?
In this country, there are a lot of people from Venezuela who are being murdered. I'm sure from Guyana who are being murdered. Probably from Barbados, from Jamaica, from America, from England. If information were to be sent out to each of these countries that your citizens are being murdered in Trinidad and Tobago, most of the people that are being killed in this country are Trinidadians and Tobagonians or Trinbagonians. I can assure you that there is no nationality in this country that is being targeted to be killed because of where they're from. Definitely not. And if that information is sent out, it's very misleading and dangerous. Anyway, stay tuned to the Street 919 FM. May Almighty God Allah continue to bless you. Assalamu alaikum.
The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the Street 919 FM.